Welcome to this video. In the former video, I finished more or less with this. Further in this video and series, I will show evidence provided by science that the supposed Aden star in West Africa. I will show the star in West Africa. This is, according to consensus, the Y-DNA or the male Aden. Y-DNA Aden is of the haplogroup A. To make the difference, they call YNB Aden A00. The rest of the haplogroup can be found here. This is A. These are the Koisan people. But they are only with roughly 100,000, and only 50% of them is haplogroup A, Y-DNA haplogroup A. So that's extremely marginal for an ancestor, for a supposed ancestor. There's some more here, but all of them are hosted in deserts, in quite extreme deserts, and they live as hunter-gatherers. And they never expanded outside of Africa. And so consensus claims that out of Africa was more or less here, and so on, somewhere to the Middle East or Western Eurasia. They probably claim more or less that it all happens in Mesopotamia, the cradle of humanity, after epic, according to consensus. But we show the marginality of haplogroup A, only 50,000 with haplogroup A over here in this area, only 50,000. I'm not sure, must be similar. And even B, which are the pygmy, which live in tropical forest, they are only with some 600,000. I'm not sure how much of these pygmies are haplogroup B, but B is not from Africa. We will claim that A is not even from Africa, and that the place of Aden points to out of America. So this is consensus, and we claim that the origin is Q. There is recent Q and there's very ancient Q. So the ancestor is ancient Q, ancient C, and for consensus it's like this: A, B, D, E, C, etc. This is a more or less, we call it the virtual haplogroup, to pull to the next block to connect the things. And they have another virtual group to pull to the other group, and to end with R, which is the actual dominant male Y-DNA haplogroup in the world. You see some R here, you see some R here, some R here, and some R here. But there is more. There's more in the world. There's some R here. I'm not sure if I pointed to this R. There's R in the north of India and north to India. There's R2 in more in the south of India. So A, haplogroup A, the Y-DNA Adam descendants, live today here in Africa and here. This is desert, and there's in that desert, extreme desert, live roughly 50,000 Koisan with haplogroup A. It's about haplogroups. Here I didn't check, but it I suppose it's not more. And the same for B. There are certainly more B. First of all, B is not African. We will show you that even A is not African, but certainly B is not African. So they are marginal, and they don't have the morphology of the 8 billion modern humans because they're less high. Uh, their height is reduced, especially in the pygmies, and their skin color and other morphologies are not typical for the 8 billion modern humans. So that's strange. They are withdrawn in Africa, in places that others cannot even live, are not interested to live. Maybe they want to cut the forests or to explore resources, but modern humans don't live here, nor here, or very limited. On the contrary, Q dominates south. This is all Q. This is a different colors of Q, but this is all Q, 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 Q. This is the dominant haplogroups. In fact, Q is all over the world, in all continents, and C is all over the world, in all continents. So this map is the world map, Y-DNA haplogroups, but that are dominant in a certain region. So Q is dominant in all of the Americas, North and South, except for this strip. But C is a descendant of Q. You see, this is not visually kind of convincing that C would come out of Africa because it's here, well, in North Africa. And in fact, its roots are in Ecuador and in Australia. It's not very convincing that out of Africans should have walked to Australia, which even in ice ages is is an island with strong currents separating it from well from Eurasia. So it's not convincing, and it's convincing. In order to convince you more, haplogroup A was only dominant here and somewhere here in desert areas, and this is Q. And you see that it's between 60 and 100% in all of South America and more or less in all of North America, in this eastern part of Eurasia, in this region east to the Yenisei River, and this region around the Aral Sea. But you see, it goes into the Middle East, Turkey, Europe. Um, in fact, it's also in Africa, but not in the 2% frequency. So once, that's what we claim, Q, which ancestral markers point to as the origin of all humans, or the Amazon forest, or all of the Americas. They once spread all over the world, but this is today, and so other groups have taken their place, replaced them, more modern groups, more modern haplogroups. As said, it's an ancient group. just as Q, which we showed in the former video that it has its origin in the Americas, spread all over the world, and we claim it came through the Pacific gyre current and populated Japan, and through rivers populated Eurasia, Eurasia, and a little bit more. But since Japan is isolated, it, this sea that has its origin in the Americas was not replaced, and in other places it was more replaced. So we show that, all to show that what comes from America, you, C, and others will follow in other videos, is significant, is more or less worldwide, all continents, uh, and A doesn't leave these areas. 50,000, Haplogroup A, probably some more in here, and maximum 600,000 B, but B is not African, and we will show that not even A, this little amount, is also not African. That is discovered in 2014 by means of ancient DNA. In research, or the team of David Wright is involved.